welcome to day 2 of our 12 days of sacred self gathering and sharing and aligning together here on Skype every day. So we will contemplate about the energies of today and then do a 5-minute alignment of our own energy to feel what it feels like to be a soul with a body and not a body with a soul. Welcome, everybody. How is your holy day, holy night, these last days of the year 2020? How is this going for you? How are you metabolizing the challenges, the opportunities on this second day of sacred self, the second day after what Christians celebrate as Christmas? After we did the realignment yesterday, to remember that there is this divine consciousness in us and that it's always there. We had a very intense touchdown, a very moving experience with our Sacred Heart. And I reminded everyone that this is what we need to remember, no matter what our circumstances, no matter what our challenges are. How is this going for you guys? How are you remembering that there is this spiritual being in you, this soul, this higher self that communicates with you? It's not it's not outside of you, it's you in you. How is that relationship going for you with all the things that are going on in your life? Who wants to share? And you can chat as well here. You can text or speak.
I found it more intimate this year. So even though we weren't with everyone, we had little ways that we could connect. And I think it was more thoughtful in those ways. And then the actual event itself was less stressful and more peaceful at our house.
Linda, where are you calling from?
I'm in Alberta, Canada.
Okay, so you guys just recently had some restrictions in regards to like whom you can celebrate Christmas with, whom you can be with. Is that correct?
Yeah, we were allowed no indoor or outdoor social gatherings.
Okay, so it's interesting for me to hear this from you. The intimacy aspect came up yesterday as well, but there was also a sadness with it or a feeling of loss. But you just described sort of the positive aspect of that. So there was less stress with this event.
And I think for us there was more intimacy because we really had to be thoughtful, more thoughtful, less materialistic this year, and really enjoying people's company. And we've been missing it for so long. To have a day where you really made a commitment to get together was valuable for us.
Isn't that interesting? So we feel the restriction of our freedom on one hand, and on the other hand we can also tap back into something that sometimes, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but goes under. Is that it? It just, so we forget about it because there's so much in our ADHD reality that we have to deal with, right? So many different people. I don't know about you guys. I always feel guilty about everyone that I'm not wishing Merry Christmas. Do you guys have that too? Like you really try to be there and be aware of your own needs and want to make this a nice experience for yourself, or maybe for your family if you have any. I have 3 kids, so there's a lot going on, obviously, but then I never feel like I'm enough. I always feel like, oh my God, I forgot this person, I forgot that person, and it frazzles me inside. And I literally feel how it happens that I forget what I need.
Well, I felt that day one yesterday allowed me to center and allowed me to sort of connect with that spirituality and sort of allow that to be my Merry Christmas wishes to everyone. And then it ended up looking after me.
In what way, Linda? That's interesting.
Well, when I'm allowed to get together with everyone, then I'm doing a job all the time, and so I don't think for a minute. Like, I'm just running full out to look after the preparations and all of those things. But this forced me, or allowed me, to be able to sit back, particularly with that 10-minute alignment, and really get back to what's important instead of the whole rush and chaos when we can all get together.
That's very nice. Thank you for sharing that. It's such a wonderful reminder of what it's all about. I found myself rushing today and getting all mad at my children because I had to be here at 12 and the computer wasn't working. And then I remembered, okay, hang on. What is all this about, right? So we have to kind of double check on that sometimes. We have to remember that it's not just about, let's say, how other people see us, or how, what we project out here, but also how we feel about it as we're doing it. This is always the big reminder for myself, is that no matter how much I can get done, it's also about the grace of doing this. It's not just about getting it done. It's also about being awake as I'm doing this. Because there are so many moments where we feel like a fire put her out, or where we just run around and try to get through things. And that's then ultimately how we end up feeling like life is happening to us, as opposed to we are living. So that's the difference.
I think that's the world's blessing that I hope that we'll all get from COVID, that we'll all learn those spiritual connections and the deeper meaning.
I agree with you here, Linda. This is a blessing in disguise. And it may not be that obvious to those of us who have gone through loss, or who have gone through disease, or, severe changes. But what it really does is it wakes us up to the things that are truly important to us, that are essential, that really matter, that really bring that forward. And as an energy healer, obviously, for me, the first response I had to the sacred self-healing community that I've been running here for over 6 years was, guys, you're going to get busy, all right? Because in all of this blessing, in this gift of being forced to stop and wake up, yes, we're going to have to look at some of the things that are not working well, where we have been neglecting our needs, or maybe not as dramatic as this, but where we have been doing things that are really not true to ourselves, that are really not expressing who we truly are. And in that, this year, 2020, and the following 3 years will be the years of authenticity, of becoming more true and discerning truth, learning how to do this. And the way we do this is by remembering this truth compass, this truth navigator inside ourselves. So I wanted to dedicate day 2 of Sacred Self to this awareness that there is this truth compass in us. We call this our true self. And our true self acts kind of like a guardian angel. It's always there. And a lot of times we might feel that it's torturing us. Who of you is familiar with this sort of negative inner self-talk and, oh, you shouldn't do this, and why did you do this, and why didn't you see this earlier? Guys, this is not our true self talking. This is a part of our ego mind that tortures us because we have not been listening to our true self. So there is a connection between that critical inner voice and our authenticity. But it is not the same. And this is the big message here for me to you on the second day of contemplation. What makes me sacred is that these voices, this inner communication, is not always coming from my true self. It can also come from, and I've experienced this just right now, from this false self, the one that wants to show up in a certain way, or that wants to be seen in a certain way through the eyes of others. This is not my true self. My true self is the one that informs me when things are not quite right, when things are against my inner grain, if you will. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? When it just doesn't feel right, but it is such a subtle voice. It's not very loud. The critical inner voice is so much louder, and so all we hear is like, oh, you're wrong, and you're a loser, and you're not good enough, and you have to try harder. And yes, yeah, Cheryl, you understand, right? Because it's so hard to hear this true self voice, this guardian angel in us that whispers to us, that says, is this truly what you want? Does this truly represent who you are, how you want to show up? And there is this feeling that comes up that we experience as incongruence or inauthenticity, and that produces the critical inner voice. This incongruent feeling where our stomach turns, all right, and our jaw starts tensing up, that is our true self talking to us. That is our guardian angel giving us the signal to be more awake, to be fully there, and to not sleep through our lives by just following something that is kind of like a projection from the outside, or even our own projection of ourselves, this idealization that our ego does, you know, how we think we have to be. I see your chat messages, guys. It's very beautiful that you can tune into this with me here. So let's use this contemplation to go even deeper and connect this with an internalized, with an inner experience. So I'm going to read the energy alignment to your true self for you while I'm playing the music. And again, you will be able to download the text with the recording of this second day, because it's more powerful when you say this in your own words. I'm just modeling this for you and help you to tune into this a little, more guided. So don't mistake my voice as the voice of your true self. You need to hear this in your own skull. You need to hear your own voice reverberating in yourself to fully internalize this. And then when we have a few moments after that, I would love to share our experiences with you. So let me start the music. It's just music in the background now, and I will speak to you into the microphone here while you can turn off your video if you want. You can lean back and just enjoy this energy alignment here for 5 minutes. All right. Music should be starting now. True self, I know you there. If I take the time, I can feel you in my sacred heart. You remind me that I am more than just a projection of myself. You are my grounding rod, way shower, and guardian angel. You guide me through my dream world and help me to navigate the confusions of dark and light. And you give me the courage to be me. Thank you for always being there for me, even if I ignore you. Forgive me for all the times I have neglected your guidance. I am awake now, and I accept the unawareness of my past. It led me to refusing to listen to your signals and clues, denying your existence, and even forgetting to ask you for help. So often, I chose to listen to my false self, my ego, my mind, my fears, and my emotions instead. I believed in these false projections, those of others and my own, because it was all I could see. I was asleep. I identified with my false self, my defenses and protection, and all its pain, which separated me even more from you. I didn't know any better. I herewith absolve myself for all I thought, felt, fantasized, and did out of the lack of awareness in the past. I can now see how useful each of these lessons, in which you let me feel the pain of not being true to myself, were. Out of the love for the divine in me, you go through everything with me, unconditionally. I finally understand this now. All fears, justifications and temptations that come from the illusion of being alone in this world are the true darkness I need to overcome. And that this is why you are here with me, to guide me and protect me and to keep me awake when I sleep. For that, I want to thank you and return this love by becoming more true to myself. From here on, I choose to trust in this love more by trusting in my true self-awareness that gives me the ability to feel you at all times and to discern truth. Your love is sacred to me. I can feel you now. Thank you.
So thank you, Jona.
You're welcome.
That was thank you, Jona. That was very clearing and centering. And I so appreciate when you look right into the camera, because then I feel even a deeper connection, because I can feel it through you when I forget how to feel it through me. So thank you. I'm feeling like I'm back in my true self again, and I've missed her for a couple of days. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Cheryl. It's for the love of the divine in you. All right. So every time we are awake and aware of that, we are celebrating this sacred love within ourselves. And it feels very, very lonely when we forget. I hear your pain. I feel your tears. I have them too. We all have it. All it really takes is to remember to be awake. And then all that comes back. I write these energy alignments on the day, literally like a couple of hours before we come together. So it's really about, you tuning into yourself. And I've had a few questions emailed to me, and you can feel free to do the same. And someone asked me, how can I withstand these temptations of my false self? How can I do this? I feel when something is wrong and when I'm choosing to do the wrong thing, but how can I do this in the moment? And the answer is by remembering this love that flows through our veins, okay? This isn't the love that comes through other people or that we think we need to be in a certain way for. This is a love that is in us. And we know it's there because it's the source of our life force. It flows through us at all times. So we just have to remember that we are there. And most of the ancient traditions, they do this through reminding people to breathe, because the breath of life is there at all times. So if you can maybe connect the two with another and say, every time I become aware of my own breathing, I am also aware of my true self. I'm also aware of the spiritual being in me, the angel light being in me. So the reason why I connect true self and guardian angel for you is because I want you to understand that in this etheric world, in this energy world, how I see it, your true selves kind of function that way. They function like angels. Who of you has ever felt the presence of a spirit guide or angel or guardian angel in their lives? Yeah, it's quite a few of you. Think of it as your true self. You can take all religion and whatever spiritual teachings or whatever that you have in mind out of this and just look at it as a force, a spiritual force, an etheric force that is kind of recalibrating you at all times. But the deeper aspect of this question is really about darkness and how to deal with that. And here I can help you with maybe changing your perspectives when you are at these lowest points. Valerie, recognize that darkness is nothing but the absence of light. And translate it to our awareness, our awakeness. It is the absence of our awakeness. The feeling of being alone or not knowing what to do or feeling lost means that we can temporarily not feel this connection with our true self, if you will. So instead of ruminating or fixating on answers or solutions, we need to go into this connection again. And recognize that this false self doesn't have the answer right now, or only answers that are incongruent or not healthy for us. And when you have that awareness already, it means that you are listening to your true self. It is better to be at a low point, recognizing that you're not connected, than being in some kind of la-la land, thinking that you are all spiritual and all connected, and yet being completely lost in your asleepness. So my big kudos to all of you who can sincerely say this. I'm at a low point, and that's all right. Because when you can say this to yourself, you already touched down with truth. You already touched down with true self. Now you just got to learn to focus on it and not sort of just dip your toes and then go back into la-la land and trying to find solution elsewhere. Yeah. Stay here. Stay here for just a little longer and ingest this love that your true self has for you. And if you can't feel it right away, then just stay even longer. Alright? That is the focus of today. To love ourselves regardless. To love our true self regardless. Even, if it has to come through others, through me, or a spirit guide, or your guardian angel. It doesn't matter. Whatever reignites this light in you. The light is the one that is in you. Okay. Thank you for spending this time with your true self. Do you guys want to share or comment? Yes, I see your beautiful thank yous. Yes, stay longer if you can't feel it right away. Your true self will always answer. Bye-bye.